Hi everyone, you're watching Hot Wok Academy. My name is Ming Jin Tong and I want to help you master your kitchen. Let's cook. Today I want to introduce to you all the different prep tools that you'll be using as you follow along on Hot Wok Academy. Now, of all the tools that you see here in front of you, maybe I want to ask you, can you take a guess to see which prep tool is the most important one? Well, it's kind of a trick question because the most important tool that you can have is your hands. Take good care of your hands. Keep them clean, keep them dry, and your prep tools are going to go a lot further if we can learn how to use our hands. Let's have a look at our preparation tools. Now, this section here is organized in our cutting tools. Now, the main cutting tool that you're going to want, especially in an Asian American kitchen, is your classic Chinese cleaver. Carbon steel, very sharp, a little bit heavy, but your hand will get used to it. I want to encourage you to learn how to use that pinch grip for even more control. And of course, there's a variety of other knives, such as a chef knife, much lighter, keeps its edge really nice, great for slicing. Consider getting a chef knife as well. I also want to mention a boning knife. This is a great tool for getting around those difficult bones, and to debone a piece of meat, you want something like this. To keep your knives sharp, you definitely want to invest in a sharpening stone. This takes a little bit of skill and time to learn, but you're really gonna do well if you can keep your knives sharp at home. A sharp knife is a safe knife. And in between your sharpenings, where you're actually removing metal, you might want to get a honing steel to help get the edge of the blade back to straight, because when we're chopping on our board, that blade can kind of bend. This gets it back in line. Another great cutting tool that you might want to have is a mandolin. Now, these things are great for making thin slices, but be careful, don't cut yourself on one of these things. And of course, here is our scallion slicer. The little cap comes off, little blades here, and it's great for making really thin ribbons out of scallions and other aromatics that you want to use. And two more cutting tools. These poultry shears are fantastic, and they come apart really nicely for cleaning, and they're spring-loaded, as you saw, to help it open back up when you need it. This vegetable Y peeler is a great one to go. Nice silicone rubber grip, and the Y shape I think is better than the candy bar shape. This one allows you to peel anything you want. Really, really nice. Cheap tools to have, but they work really well. Let's move on to our crushing tools. This here is a Xylus garlic press. Works really fantastic. I wouldn't recommend pressing into hot oil. Garlic does burn pretty easy, but if you're gonna make a dressing or a marinade, this is a great way to go. Likewise, for ginger root, this is a ceramic ginger grater. You can also use it for hard cheeses like Parmesan, but this thing has tons of tiny, sharp teeth. Really, really effective. Highly recommend that you get yourself a good ginger grater. This is a reamer. Here's what I like about this one. It's got really sharp edges to really get in there and remove not only the juice, but the pulp. Another great crushing tool here, of course, is my mortar and pestle. Get yourself a nice heavy one. Put a silicone mat underneath so it doesn't roll around. And also, if you're gonna be pounding in there, you don't wanna hurt your countertop. You can protect that by using this silicone mat. This mortar and pestle is really great for turning herbs and spices into dust, as you might want. Let's move on now to some of our measuring tools. Just three to mention. This one is a kitchen scale. Get yourself a kitchen scale so that you can begin to understand exactly how much of something you're putting in. Measuring by weight is much more accurate than measuring by volume. Two kinds of thermometers. This one is an instant read thermometer. It's got a nice probe that sticks out here, and you can insert that in your food, and pretty quickly it will give you a very accurate measurement. How do you know if something is done? Really, there's lots of ways to tell, and some people say, well, if it feels like this, feels like that. The best way is by measuring and knowing the actual internal temperature of food to know if it's done. Likewise, some people say, how hot does oil have to be before you cook in it? Well, you need to measure that. And in a minute in our cooking tools, we'll talk about that. And maybe how hot should a pan be for when you're stir frying, or maybe even just making an egg. Get a nice infrared thermometer to help you to actually know what is the temperature of a surface. This one can read all the way from -58 up to almost 3,300 degrees Fahrenheit. Infrared thermometers do a really, really great job. Let's move on here to some of the bench tools. Now this helps keep your cutting board clean, your counter clean. But most of the time what I use this for is when I'm done chopping. If I'm not using my Chinese cleaver, this helps me actually to pick up the product off the board. Really, really helpful. This one here is a piercer for pork skin. If you're going to be using pork skin and you want that nice crisp, it's important to aerate the skin. This is a really great tool for that. A whisk, nothing more to say about that. Everyone knows these things. I guess I do want to say, buy one that's easy to clean. A mashed potato masher, or for us, sometimes we mash taro with it. This is a great one. Again, an all stainless steel construction. And I like how it's got this big openings here for the food product to be able to get out. Again, cleaning is really important, and this one's an easy one to do. Before I move on to my powered equipment, here's some ones that are just super important. A dish rag or a bar mop. These are just so important to have on hand to keep your counter clean, keep your hands dry. Very important when you are working, especially with knives. So get a stack of towels. I always have a bunch of them when I'm working. Here are my mixing bowls, and I've got 3 varieties. I've got a small one, a medium one, and a deep one. I've got about 8 of each of these in my kitchen. Really important to have a variety of prep bowls as you're working. These strainers or colanders here, these mesh baskets, these are really fantastic. I got this set at an Asian grocery store. 5 different sizes from the smallest to the largest, as you can see here, for only about $15. So invest in a set like this. These are really fantastic. And here, of course, is a Vitamix. A high power blender is a really important tool for preparation, especially if you're gonna be making sauces. This is just a really powerful tool to have. Here is an immersion blender, and this one comes in one solid piece, so there's really nothing to lose. These are great for making emulsions like a mayonnaise, or putting that into your soup pot to blend up a soup that you've made. And last but certainly not least, here we have our Datong rice cooker. It's a steam cooker. We'll talk a lot more about rice cookers, but if you're gonna be making Asian foods, you wanna have an easy way to make rice. All right, that's all that we have for our prep tools. And keep in mind, this collection has taken me several years to gather. As you begin to continue learning your cooking, buy the prep tools that you need just one at a time, and you'll have your collection that will serve you for many, many years to come. So that's all that we have for prep tools. Check out our next video for our cooking tools. Thanks.